there folks, and welcome into today's video. Today on this channel here, Financial Education 3, I'm going to teach you guys a little hack on how you know when to worry about stocks when like groups of stocks are about to crash in a major way. And what I'm going to teach you in this video here today, I can promise you, you're never going to read this in some textbook or any book in general, okay? This is a very new age way of thinking, and what I have found is it actually legitimately works. If you keep track of this, you're going to know essentially like when stocks are peaking out, specific groups of stocks, when you got to run for cover, or where the real opportunities are and when those time periods are, okay? So yeah, like I said, guys, this is something way out there and way different, but I've been on YouTube for many years and kind of paying attention to social trends and whatnot and how these things can affect the market. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be giving out just straight game in this video. If you don't mind, just smash that like button. I appreciate it in a huge way, guys. Yeah, it means a lot. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe. We're on our way to 100,000 subscribers, and maybe share this hack out with somebody in general. Today's video is sponsored by the Hungry Bowl. It's on your iOS and your Android store now. For a download, it's absolutely free. Way to track your stocks, cryptos, the markets, read our daily newsletter, keep up with news in the market, SEC reports, earnings calls, so much more. That is the Hungry Bowl. Alrighty, guys, so let's get into this. So you're going to notice some things, okay? In January of 2021, what I'm on essentially right now is Social Blade. Social Blade is a way you can track like YouTube views and different things like that for YouTube channels, all right? And what you're going to find is CNBC television had over 100 million views in the month of January, okay? And they also had a ridiculous amount of new subscribers come in. But over 100 million views. Now, CNBC television, the YouTube channel, that uploads essentially all stock-related videos and where guys and gals are giving their opinions on stocks, okay? All day long, all right? Now, that is a ridiculously high number. Now, what else do we know happened in January? Well, that was when a ton of, let's call it growth stocks, spec stocks, and smaller market cap companies, and including also mid caps, but a lot of small caps, almost all of them peaked around January and February when all of this was at its height, and there was a fever interest in finding out about stocks, watching stock videos, stocks, right? Like an absolute absurd number of folks were interested, right? Right then and there, that should have been a telltale sign that, oh boy, we're about to get into some trouble. And what have we seen since that time, right? We saw anything that's even slightly risk on has dropped 30, 40, 50, a lot of those stocks 60, 70, 80%, right? Since January, February of 2021. So essentially, this was giving us a sign like, hey, watch out. There's a whole bunch of people getting in the market right now. You got to watch out for this, right? My friend Mr. Kevin, okay, uploads a ton of stock-related videos, and the market opens and closes and all that stuff, right? I mean, look at his channel in January of 2021. Almost 40 million views that month. Almost 40 million. That's a huge number, right? That was a higher number than back when he was doing all those stimulus check videos, right? And it was stimulus checks, and it was like, 10 updates a day, right? And right there, almost 40 million views compared to lately he's been at, 10 million, 11 million, somewhere around there views. So we're talking, from that peak there, what is that, like 60, 70 something percent decline in the amount of views, if not over 70% decline from there, right? And that just shows you like there was just a crazy amount of interest in stock market related videos. And ever since then, obviously, huge drop off there. Also, keep in mind, you got to pay attention to YouTube channels or people that just come out of nowhere, right? And this gentleman, this Chris Sane guy, I had never heard of him until like late in 2020. And all of a sudden I heard people talking about him, and I was like, what is going on here? And his channel peaked essentially right around here in January also, right? Over 7.5 million views. And this guy was like the hot stock of the day or whatever he was doing, right? It seemed like a kind of a trading channel. And his channel was just blowing up, just crazy out of nowhere. Like no one ever heard of this guy. And all of a sudden he was like, just getting like hundreds of thousands of views on videos. And yeah, in January, he does over 7.5 million views compared to today, he's at 1.2, right? That was probably a sign like, man, somebody just comes out of nowhere like that and just all of a sudden is doing 7.5 million plus views in a month. It should be a little shaky, right? And like I said, if you follow almost any stock that is seen as a risk-on type stock, right, that retail investors would like to get in, they've almost all fallen off a cliff, right? And when it comes to folks that are watching these channels, most folks aren't watching, different channels, whether it's my YouTube channel or other YouTube channels, to hear about Apple stock, right? Or Intel stock or IBM stock or things like that, right? People want more growth plays. Like, that's why you get in the stock market, not just, if you were just buying Apple stock, like, that's simple, like, just buy Apple stock, right? So usually you're coming to YouTube channels or, doing Google searches and things like that for trying to find out something a little more, right? Than just, how to buy Apple stock. But if you look at a term here on Google Trends, how to buy stocks, look at this search term. Where did it peak also? Right in January. It went through the roof, right? Through the roof. And then right after that, all those stocks that that are seen as more of a risk-on type stock, that had speculative stocks, growth stocks, anything just fell off a cliff. And look at where we're at today. How to buy stocks, right? That term is just not popular at all. Like, no one cares how to buy stocks right now, right? Now, think about it from this context. This makes it actually much more interesting time to be in the stock market. Right here, scary, right? It's January, February, when there's that many folks all wanting to know how to buy stocks, how do I buy it, how do I do it, right? Little scary. Here, when there's like this little teeny bit of interest on how to buy stocks, a little more interesting, right? Right here was kind of giving everybody like a warning, like, hey, be careful, guys. There's a massive amount of people searching how to buy stocks. Be a little worried, right? Look at this term, stocks to buy, right? Look at how much it peaked in January and February, right? It even started to skyrocket a little bit in December, right? And look at that peak right there. And ever since then, look at the drop off. And look at where stocks to buy is now. Look at how small, as small of an amount of people are actually searching stocks to buy. Like, it's just not there as a Google trend anymore. Here, it was like a mountain, right? And here it's like, this is like the flatlands in Texas. Like, my goodness, right? There's just no interest. Once again, if you're thinking about, is it an interesting time to maybe get involved in some stocks? Google Trends is your friend, okay? Look at Robinhood, right? Robinhood is known as like the biggest stock brokerage for new investors when they, are thinking about investing. A lot of folks know Robinhood, right? They heard about it. It just shows up there, right? And then maybe over time, people switch to other brokerages. Like, I know a lot of people in the private stock group, when they were scaling their accounts at first, they're in Robinhood. Next thing you know, they're at 50K, 100K, $250,000, and they're switching over to TD Ameritrade, Fidelity Investments, other ones like that, right? But Robinhood attracts the new investors. There's no dang doubt about that. And look at that in January. Off the charts. Everybody and their grandma want to know, how the heck do I sign up for a Robinhood account and play some dang trades here, right? And right after that, it just starts falling off a cliff. And look at how low the Robinhood search term is today. Like, look at how small that is. It's like minuscule. It's like lower than the flatlands in Texas. If this was like, above sea level and below sea level, like here's Mount Everest and here's like the bottom of the ocean, essentially, okay, for the term Robinhood. Because there's just not that many people that are just like, I got to know like how to set up a Robinhood account. How do I buy stocks? What are the stocks to buy right now? We're not in that type of market at all right now. Which kind of makes sense, because look at a ton of these small caps. Look at small cap valuations. What are we doing right now? Small cap valuations are right near the cheapest they've been in years and years. And there's only really been in the last 20 years, really 2 or 3 time periods for a substantial amount of time where the small caps were trading cheaper on a forward P basis than they are right now, right? Mids are the same way. And that's just because we don't have an influx of new investors at all, right? And none of that new money's coming in there. And think about it in this way, right? The hedge funds, big funds in general, they're worried about Apple, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft, Tesla. That's the type of stocks they're investing in, right? S&P. The funds, for the most part, they're not usually worried about trying to buy a smaller cap stock or something more speculative. Many times those funds aren't even allowed to buy certain of those stocks, right? Never mind, like, they just can't do it. They literally can't do it, right? Sometimes the funds are too big to even think about buying a market cap under $5 billion. So they're out of it. So a lot of times, if you're in the under $5 billion type market caps, a lot of times you're counting on retail investors, essentially. Retail money and maybe small funds, like small hedge funds and things like that. Berkshire Hathaway is not worried about buying some $2 billion market cap stock, right? Because that's not moving the needle at all for them. They're worried about, how do I buy a $200 billion market cap stock that we like, right? And so it's a total different frame of mind there, right? Look at this. How do options work? My goodness, it went off the charts in January. Now, the interesting thing is supposedly there's a trend going up here recently on how options work. I don't know if maybe that's because 2024 options just came out, and so a lot of people are looking into it, just trying to see. I don't know. That's an interesting spike that all of a sudden happened in there, because nothing else is spiking up, right? Robinhood, how to buy stocks, anything else. So maybe this just has to do with, the fact that 2024 options came out recently, and a lot of folks are maybe interested in that and how do options work. But look at that. Clear as day right there. December, January, into February, it was just ridiculous how many people were typing in search terms like how do options work. And now, not so much, right? Not so much recently. Now, on my channel many years ago, I started a series that at the time was a game-changing series, 3 stocks I'm buying now. And back in the day doing those videos, oh my goodness, that's a long dang time ago, those views were amazing. I couldn't even believe, some of those videos were getting that many dang views, okay? So we fast forward to January of 2020, and the 3 stocks I'm buying now, January 2020 video, gets 92,000 views. 92,000 people watch that. Now, on my channel, I think it's not important to really look at the subscriber number for the most part, and we're talking about the main channel, right? I know this video is coming out on the 3rd channel, but just because that channel has, let's say, 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 subscribers, that's not really in my opinion, a real number, right? Because that's not 600,000 or 700,000 people are not showing up to watch my videos, right? They just happen to subscribe over the years, right? The real core, I have one football stadium rocking with me, right? 50,000 people, 50,000 people, that's who's really showing up to watch every single one of my videos on the main channel. Anything after that is just extra, essentially, okay? And so this video here did 92,000 views. Now, fast forward to this year for the January 2021 video, over 200,000 people watched that. 4 football stadiums worth of people watched me talk about 3 stocks I'm buying, right? Little worrisome there that many people were interested to hear me talk about 3 stocks I'm buying, but at that time, there was just a ridiculous amount of people that were interested in what's the next stock to buy. We saw it, CNBC, any of those other YouTube channels that are talking about stocks, the views are just ridiculous. And on my own channel, to have over 200,000 people, like I said, I have 50,000 people rocking with me a day, and I appreciate all you guys, and thanks so much for being here and being part of that football stadium, okay? I don't have 4 football stadiums rocking with me. That would be cool if I did, but I just don't, okay? And so when I have that many tourists come into my channel, they're basically just tourists coming to view my stuff, hey, maybe something a little worrisome there, right? If we look at this past month, the September edition, 68,000 views. Normal. That's normal. The October edition, I would say, will probably do somewhere between 60,000 and probably 80,000 views. Somewhere in there, 60,000, 80,000. That's to be expected, right? I got my 50,000 core base, my one football stadium, and then I'm going to get some extra views outside of that, right? But when it's 200,000 plus, a little something to worry about there, guys, okay? And so when I think about this situation, the moral of the story is, pay attention to these numbers and things like that. Keep an eye on it. It does not need to be your main focus, but every once in a while, just look around. See where the trends are. YouTube and Google is your friend. You can get so much information out of tracking these and seeing where the views are at for folks, seeing where trends are at. And if numbers get way too elevated, oh boy, things are probably about to get a little scary, right? When things are down and out, not nearly as scary, right? I mean, I'm just not nearly as scared, investing in a lot of these stocks down 50% plus from their highs, 30%, 40%, 60%, 70% on a lot of these smaller stocks, especially when there's not that big interest there from folks, right? That's not as scary for me, but the moral of the story is you got to at least pay attention to stuff a little bit. You will actually be able to, understand hey, Now's a time to really be worried, or now's not a time to be worried, because what I've noticed over time in the stock market is metrics move around. There's certain times a forward P is high, the trailing 12-month P is high or low, or vice versa, and price to sales ratio. And sometimes it's hard to get actually a good gauge on that, because I've seen the market still beast even when time periods where looked like numbers were high, or vice versa, they were low and there were time periods to worry about. But when it comes to smalls and mids, the retail investor crowd absolutely has a big influence there. And if you see too many of those folks over there, get a little scared, okay? And if you see not very many, feel a little more confident. I would just put it that way, okay, guys? Hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, much love, and have a great day.